What food is this? Rosmarie, Hausherr. And in this book, you get to see a picture on one page, and it'll tell you on the next page what food it is. So your job is to tell me what it is before I turn the page. What food is this? By Rosmarie Hausherr. What food comes from grass that an animal has eaten? Grass-eating cows and goats produce milk to feed their young. The roughage from grass and hay is digested in 4 different stomachs and turned into milk. Every morning and evening at the same times, the herd returns to the stable. The dairy animal munches on grain while the farmer cleans the udder and milks by hand or machine. The warm, foaming milk is cooled and trucked to the dairy, where it is pasteurized, homogenized, and shipped to stores, or it is made into fresh butter, cheese, yogurt, or ice cream. Next question. So that goes with the page before. Now this one. What food wears a fuzzy coat? Did you guess peaches? Then you're right. Peaches, like many other fruits, grow on trees in gardens and in orchards. In early spring, the fruit trees burst into bloom. Bees gather pollen from their blossoms for honey and pollinate other flowers. From the center of each flower, a tiny green fruit develops. Nourished by sun and rain, the fruit ripens, is picked, and is shipped to stores. Inside each peach is a large stone-like seed. Plant the seed and another tree will grow. The fragrant fruit can be squeezed into refreshing juice or dried for a sweet snack. Yum! What sweet fruit grows on a thorny bush? Check out what's on his tongue. So what is that? Do you know? Raspberries belong to the rose family. They grow on thorny bushes in gardens or in the wild. These native fruits develop from small white blossoms that turn into sour green berries. By midsummer, they are ripe, red, and sweet. They are called aggregates because each berry is a cluster of tiny fruits with seeds. Picking wild berries like blackberries, gooseberries, or blueberries is worth a few scratches or insect bites. Wild berries taste best sun-ripened from the bush, but they also make great pies, jams, jellies, and flavorful juices. What foods are flowers that we can eat? Isn't that an interesting looking bouquet? What is that? The broccoli and cauliflower we eat are flowers of the broccoli and cauliflower plants. They belong to the cabbage family. We eat their flower buds before they bloom. The bud of the artichoke is another tasty flower. If not harvested, this thistle plant bursts into a gigantic purple blossom. Most green plants eventually flower, but most flowers are not edible. We eat the asparagus stalk, but not its tiny bell-shaped flowers. We cook the bulb of onions, chives, and garlic, but don't eat their pretty flowers. So some have flowers that we eat, and some have flowers that we do not. Now, check out the next picture. What food grows without seeing the sun? Isn't that a crazy picture? And what is that vegetable? The crunchy orange carrot is a root vegetable that grows from a tiny seed. The carrot plant's lacy green leaves manufacture more food from the sun than the plant needs to live. So the extra food moves down to the underground root. Because of this, carrots, beets, turnips, radishes, and parsnips are very nutritious foods. Root vegetables can be stored for winter in a dark, moist place. Potatoes, yams, and peanuts also grow underground. One plant can produce a small crop. Ooh, that's how they look underground. What food looks like a miniature cabbage? Check that out. Do you know the name for that? Brussels sprouts belong to the cabbage family. A long time ago, cabbage plants were scrawny wild cabbage weeds. Over the centuries, Brussels sprouts, kale, collards, broccoli, and cauliflower were developed from these wild weeds into big, healthy vegetables. Today's small Brussels sprouts, rosettes, survive in cold weather and can be harvested in the snow. Among the large group of vegetables whose green leaves we eat are chard spinach and lettuce. Chlorophyll and the sun make them green. And we don't believe that they changed over time. We believe that God made them that way, right? So God made them this way, and now let's figure out what the question is over here. What foods are called vegetables but are really fruit? Oh, let's find out about that. That is a very interesting topic. Because cucumbers, eggplants, peppers, tomatoes, squash, peas, beans, and pumpkins are not sweet, we call them vegetables, but they are really fruits. The part of a plant that has seeds in it is always the fruit. Any other part, the leaves, the root, or the stalk, is the vegetable. The next time you eat any of these colorful vine-ripened foods in salads, casseroles, pasta sauces, or as your favorite dinner vegetable, remember, you are eating a fruit. Isn't that interesting? Ooh, let's find out what this is. What food tastes great when cooked on an open fire? Do you know what that is? Steak, hamburger, chicken, or sausage. Meats sizzling over charcoal fires are outdoor barbecue favorites. Our meats come from livestock, which are living animals. Cows, pigs, lambs, and chickens live on farms where they are raised on grass, grains, hay, or whey. And they grow big enough. They are brought to the slaughterhouse and killed. The butcher cleans and cuts the meat. Then it is delivered to stores. People called vegetarians do not eat meat for spiritual or health reasons, or because they don't like the taste. My daughter Renata doesn't like the taste of meat. So, that was the meat. What do you think this is? What kind of food swims in the water? I think some of you boys told me you like to do this to catch those. Freshwater fish live in lakes and streams. Saltwater fish share their ocean homes with many other sea creatures like shrimp, lobsters, squid, and mussels. Fish are cold-blooded animals covered with tiny scales. Breathing through gills, they feed underwater on plankton, insects, or small fish. Fish are caught with lines or nets. Before cooking, they are cleaned and the scales are scraped off. Often the bones are removed. Fish are sold fresh, frozen, canned, dried, or smoked. So, shows them catching fish there. Ooh, do you know what these are? What food looks like colored gravel? Oh my goodness, look at all those. Native Americans harvested colorful peas and beans and legumes, or called legumes, before Columbus arrived. Delicate pea and bean flowers on climbing vines mature into fruit. Peas and beans grow in pocket-like pods, which are shelled for the plant's seeds. Removed from their pods and dried, legumes can keep for years. Protein-rich legumes are favorite meat substitutes for vegetarians. The wide variety include chickpeas, lentils, soybeans, and peanuts, which are not nuts, but peas. Interesting. Ooh, do you see this? What's that? It says, what food is packed in a fragile shell? Do you know what that is? Eggs are laid by chickens on farms or in fenced-in yards. Like wild birds, hens lay eggs in nests to hatch young chicks. Because farmers remove the eggs for people to eat, hens keep laying more. Chicken eggs are white or brown. Small greenish eggs come from pheasants. Big white ones are laid by geese, and speckled eggs come from wild turkeys. Protein-rich eggs are a favorite breakfast food. Used for baking, they color a cake with rich, natural yellow color. Ooh, what fruit or what food is a seed hiding in a hard shell? Ooh, do you know what that is? Imagine a tree as high as 6-story house. The enormous walnut tree grows from a small seed. The seed is the walnut that we enjoy in desserts or just by itself. When it is pressed into oil, it is used on salads and for cooking. On the tree, the growing walnut is covered with a green husk. The husk turns brown and cracks open when the nut inside is ripe. Like pecans, hazelnuts, and almonds, the walnut shell is hard and must be broken with a nutcracker. Beautiful furniture is made from the tree's valuable wood. Ooh, check out this picture. Do you know what that is? What food comes from a pretty flower? Look closely. Sunflower seeds are a gift from the lovely sunflower plant. By midsummer, the plant stands as tall as a basketball player. Sunny, bright yellow petals invite bees to collect pollen from hundreds of tiny blossoms crowded together in the center of the flower. By summer's end, the blossoms are dry and pushed off by the ripening seeds. Birds feast on the seeds. These seeds that drop to the ground may grow into flowers next year. People enjoy sunflower seeds raw or roasted. A quality oil is made from pressed seeds. Interesting. Ooh, do you see what's over here? What foods are grass seeds? Wild grass seeds are cousins of the grain that farmers sow in big fields. Slender grass blades grow tall and bloom, pollinated by winds. Tiny blossoms ripen into clusters of golden grain. Giant machines harvest the grain, separating the seeds from the stalk and the chaff. At the mill, grain is ground into flour. From wheat, oats, rye, barley, and corn come crusty breads, pastries, cereals, and pastas. Farm animals also eat grain. The grain, which is also the seed, is replanted and the cycle begins anew. Now we're ready for this. Do you know what that is? What food grows standing in water? Ooh, look closely. What do you think that is? Rice is eaten daily by millions of people around the world. Like wheat and corn, the rice plant is also grass. It grows wild in swamps. Farmed rice is planted in paddies, which are fields that have been flooded with water. The young seedlings can reach 6 feet in height. When the clusters of rice seeds are ripe, the water is drained from the fields for easy harvest. Brown rice is more nutritious than polished white rice. Flavorful black rice is a delicacy. Ooh, now check this out. What sweet food is made by insects? Oh, do you know what that is? Bees produce honey in the summer for their winter food. As bees collect sweet nectar from the flowers, pollen sticks to their hairy legs. Back at their hives, the pollen is used as food. Nectar is stored inside the wax cells of the comb, where it turns into honey. In early fall, beekeepers wearing veiled hats to protect themselves from bee stings remove some honeycomb frames from the hives. In the honey house, machines spin the combs to draw out the honey. The empty beeswax comb is melted into golden candles. Ooh, interesting. What food is needed for all forms of life? Ooh, what is in that picture? Water is the most important food. Neither people, plants, nor animals can live without it. Drinking lots of water is healthy. Our bodies are made mostly of water. Rainwater from clouds helps trees and plants grow. It also provides the drinking water for springs and wells, and for reservoirs that supply water to large cities. Water is naturally recycled when the heat of the sun evaporates it and turns it back into clouds. Clean water is precious. We must not pollute or waste it. Ah, and this part is called the glossary, and it tells you a little bit more about all the things that we learned about. And if you look very carefully, there's a food pyramid there that we have talked about too. So this was a very informational book. When you have an informational book, we call that nonfiction. So this is a nonfiction book. It's true. Other books are called fiction, and those are just stories.